Hey beautifuls, invite me to a peace rally and I will be there. Who said that? Where is that quote from? That is from Mother Teresa. I've been getting pulled into all this world stuff and it really shook me, through me, and I was feeling really frazzled by it. And if you saw my live stream yesterday, last night, you will kind of see that, right? There's two things I want to talk about on here. Why I was like that and why I was like that. No, there's more. Okay, so number one, as you know, I've been quiet on this platform about the big stuff, simply because I want to be able to still support people. Now, the other piece about that is that I've been like doing my thing. At the same time, I'm getting agitated because obviously things are amping up in the world and people are, I see, looking to me for guidance about it. Now, like I posted the other day, I know a lot more things going on that I am talking about and letting on and all that sort of thing. Now, yesterday I was a bit agitated and I was like, what is going on? And then this morning it really dropped in. So I'm going to, like, there's so much I want to share about it all as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record an audio and pop it on my website. You guys will see that come up probably in the next 24 hours. So keep an eye out for it. And it'll be like, what on earth is going on? Okay. So, hey guys, welcome. If this is your first time to my live stream, my name is Hannah from Reality Awareness. Let me know where you're from around the world. And this that I really want to share is really important because I don't, like, you know, at the same time I've been like angst about it because I do know so much, right? And I haven't said anything because of that very deep fact. If you invite me to a war protest, I will not come. If you invite me to a peace rally, I will be there. Mother Teresa said that. This is really where I'm at with it. I don't care if you're in the politics or not. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting amped up about anything that's going on, you're in the war of it. As I keep saying, we're in World War III and nobody has labeled it as such, right? And anything that you're fired up about with it, you're in the war of it. You're in that energy of it. Invite me to a peace rally and I will be there. And people will be like, but it was a peaceful protest. And I'm like, yeah, what are you peacing about? You're still in it. Okay? There's so much that I'm going to share that I don't voice here. And like I said, when I do, keep an eye out in the next 24 hours, what on earth is going on. Then I'm going to open up a forum to be able to have an open discussion about this, where you can share all your concerns, I can answer them for you, and we can have a big group chat, okay? Just like we're catching up and having a cup of tea in person. So, number one, that's coming. Okay, because this morning when I got really agitated about it, like, and I'll share more about my why and everything, it's really like, it explains so much. I was like, oh, finally for me, the clarity, because it's been a little bit of a process for me to even come to like, well, how am I supposed to support people, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I'll share that later. So, hey, beautifuls from Sydney, welcome. Love having you guys here. So yes, let me know where you're from around the world. The other thing I just wanted to jump on and share here is that people said about the live stream last night, like, you weren't yourself or something's up or you've changed. And I'm like, yeah, I have changed actually. And it was a big part of like that live stream last night. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that live stream. I'm like, why did I do that live stream? I'm like, because I thought I had to live stream. I'm like, well, I did. I wanted to share part of my story and my journey. At the same time, this is where I was still really agitated about it, and where this clarity dropped in this morning is because my purpose is changing. And when I share this audio, I'll share what that's changing. It's not changing, but I don't know, the style or whatever. I don't know. I'll share more because it's hard to describe here without going into the rest of it all. So, but another big part of I've changed, do you know what the biggest part about I've changed is? The people are like, you're not the same, and your energy is different, and you're a different person. And I'm like, yeah, because the people that are saying this to me are actually picking up that I'm not the people pleaser to you that I used to be. I saw an awesome quote not long ago from Boss Babe or something, and it said, the only people that will react to your boundaries are the ones who have none. And I was like, that is so true. Right? And it's kind of judgmental, but it is also true. Evolving, yes, evolving, baby. And the thing I want to say is like, yeah, I definitely have changed. I'm definitely not that people pleaser who will be there at your beck and call. And like, I definitely have boundaries now. I'm definitely more mindful of my time and energy. I'm definitely here to change the world, and I'm not going to be able to change the world if I'm continuing to be the same person who I used to be. That people will like come to me and they're like, so what's my block and what's this? And we work on some stuff, and then I'm like, okay, now you need to change the physical. And they're like, oh, I'm not doing that, so what's the next meditation? And I'm like, well, there's only so much inner work you can do before the physical needs to change. And they're like, but I'm not doing that, what's the next meditation? And I'm like, we can do all the inner work you like, but if you're not going to change the external, right? Because the only block, right? And some people will be like, oh, I always get that same message all the time. And I'm like, well, until you act on that message, you will continue to get that same message, right? So when people turn around and say to me, you've changed, you're not the same person, and you've got a different energy, I'm like, yeah, good. Because that person who I was, I love her, but she got drained and burnt out, and she didn't care for herself at all. And she was really good at helping other people, but she wasn't good at helping herself and caring for herself, and she burnt out and drained, right? And so it's really important that I did change, right? Because there's no way that that was sustainable, let alone when I've got this vision to create in my world, and everybody has a vision to create in their world. It doesn't have to be changing the world, but everybody's got a vision about how they want their life to be. That's why they come to me, because something's not right and they want something better. They're not happy with their current life, and so they want to change it, right? And so they change it in their life, right? To change it, they have to do the work. But it's not just a meditation. Sometimes it is just a meditation and then everything shifts. Sometimes we need to take physical action. So it's really important that I am also growing and evolving for my next level, for my next stage. That means that I won't be the person that I used to be, right? That's how it should be. We're growing and evolving and changing all the time. But when somebody is stuck, it's usually because they're not willing to do the next thing their intuition is guiding them to do in this. So then they feel, blocked, or they get clouded, or everything gets worse because they're not listening to their intuition. Change is scary for people, but change is also a big part of how we find and awaken our life purpose, which is what we just spoke about in the 12 Divine Steps, in the Reality Awareness Support Group. We just started our first Divine Step for the 12 Divine Steps over 2021. So send me a message if you want to catch the replay for that. Of course, there's still time, right? So over the next 12 months, we're going through a step a month. So that is in there, but it's literally the first step for a reason. If you're not being honest with your reality, and you're like, yeah, I need to change these things. And you do it a little bit, but then you're like, oh, I'm not changing that big thing. Like if you're in a toxic, unhealthy relationship and you're not willing to leave that, well, that's the next step. And until you do that, nothing else will change. You'll stay stuck at this certain kind of level and this same experience in your life and over, and you go down and like over and over, because you're not willing to change what your intuition is guiding you to change. Right? So when people turn around to me and they say, oh, Hannah, you've changed and you've got a different energy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not the people pleaser that I used to be. And I have boundaries in place now. And I've got, it's like I needed what I need to support my life purpose vision in the world. I needed to become a different person. There is no way that I could change the world and hold a certain level of leadership if I was continuing to be the people pleaser to everyone that dropped in my feed, or everyone that sent me a message or whatever. It's just not possible. And it's really interesting going through this process of setting these boundaries and holding them, and the people who respect and love me for them, and the people who lose their shit at me and tell me that they've got all these excuses why they can't or whatever. And that's fine. Totally fine, but it's really, really interesting who moves in and out of your field when we set these boundaries. And I think that this is a big thing of people not having the correct support, knowledge, or knowing how to support themselves when they go through changes and set boundaries, that people will leave your life. Like, that is a reality. People will leave your life when you stop being the people pleaser to the people who you've been pleasing and trying to fix to receive the love, adoration, and all sorts of things in your life. When you start to do that for yourself and you start to set these boundaries, and like, those people will sometimes be angry at you because you've changed. Like, that is a reality about it. And it's like continuing to hold that, knowing that when you do set boundaries, people will leave your life, right? And there might be like nothing for quite some time, but then there's all these people who are in alignment who also have those boundaries, who are also creating their life in the way or whatever, they at least respect your boundaries, right? And that's really important, because if you don't respect your boundaries and then, then you're like, oh, well, this happened, it was all their fault. And it's like, well, actually, did you actually say no or set those boundaries? Or yeah, I had it, but then I went back. And it's like, well, this is where we learn, right? And I had to learn, and everybody does, and there's a certain readiness to actually take action on your intuition in the way that it's being guided to go. So if you're receiving the same repetitive message all the time and nothing is changing, as soon as you take action on that message, then the next message will come through and you'll be like, oh my gosh, all this stuff opens up, right? And it's like magically all the blocks disappear. The only block that you have is not listening and taking action on the next step your intuition is guiding you to take. Yeah. So the Life Purpose Accelerator only has a couple more days. It's actually like less than 48 hours to jump into the inner circle, which is our most deepest dive into awakening your life purpose, accelerating your life purpose, and taking those action steps to be able to move in the direction that you're being guided to go, right? And sometimes, like I said, you need support for that. There's no way I would have been able to get where I am today without support and learning the next steps, and then also clearing out all those things that are actually blocking me from taking action on what my intuition is guiding to do. That takes work. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. And as soon as I've set boundaries and not being the people pleaser for those people anymore, they've literally dropped out of my life. And it's really, really interesting about that. People will leave, but they'll also create space for the new wonderful people who really get you and align with your next amazing self. Yeah, exactly, right? Yes, it's exactly what happens. So it's so important. And to be surrounded by people who are also doing that, because as a codependent, empath, sensitive human who is knocked by our family systems and all the jazz, it is challenging for us to set these boundaries, because it's all we know and like is all this meshed stuff. And when we start doing that, then we're like, oh, like what, we feel rejected or guilty or all these things. But the most important thing is that we hold our ground with that. And if we're not around other people who also live that way, it is harder. So the Life Purpose Accelerator helps you to have that support network, as well as being mentored by me for 12 months, one-on-one, anytime or day or night. Send me a message. It's all there, and you get access to everything I ever create over the next 12 months, and there's only less than 48 hours to go. So send me a message. Link is in the title. You'll see it on my page. Hi guys, you can watch the replay. There's some big stuff coming out soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that and what on earth is going on. And I shall see you very soon. Love ya. Mwah. Keeping it real as always.